Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Laser Sports Academy podcast. We're here with one of our old friends, Mumin. How are you?
All's good. All's good. Great to be back.
Good to have you back, bro. I love your shirt, by the way. It's looking good on you.
Nice. Oh
It
yeah,
suits your eyes.
I like it.
um,
It's good quality.
yeah, good. Glad you like it. Yeah, thanks for jumping on today, brother. We're here to talk everything SweNats. We're going to go right the way back to the beginning and talk about the history of SweNats because we do have it coming up in a little while. So yeah, we will get to that as well. But we thought what a perfect opportunity to get the history of the tournament because it's got a pretty rich history and it is special and unique in its own right. And it's pretty widely considered now, particularly in Europe, to be one of the best tournaments going around, if not the best tournament going around, because of how well it's organised and the quality of the competition. And this year looks to be no different with a record number of teams. So, yeah, let's jump in, mate. And why don't you take us back and tell us where it all began?
All right. So, just I started playing. I played my first nationals in '97. The first one was back in '95. It was called the Nordic Championship, something like that, and it's considered the first one. I didn't play it. I know Sweden won. Gothenburg won it. Um, and the team that won it were all like the local legends. And they played like late at night. I was only like 11, 12, so I didn't play them that much, but they were all solid players. 97, I joined in first time. It was also a home field, and I think that Gothenburg won it. Home side mattered a lot more than, and it was much more shenanigans and stuff like that. That was the first time I joined, and we played 5-man teams and no bases. So you just ran around in the arena shooting people. No real rules. There was only one rule, and that was the 90-degree rule, more or less, that you couldn't like bend over. Because back then you could only shoot the packs from like straight forward. You couldn't shoot packs if people bent over. So that was like the only rule.
Was this version 4, version
Yeah, it
3
was
packs?
V4. Yeah, V4.
V4. Yeah. So
Oh,
the
yeah.
for people playing at home that don't know about these packs, they kind of had like a full like they just had these little windows on the side that you could shoot through essentially, and the rest of the plastic was like blacked out, so you couldn't shoot through that part. So yeah, it was
Exactly.
very easy to like maneuver your pack into obscure ways so that you couldn't get tagged, or even put your arm straight in front of the window if you wanted to.
Yes. There was no real covering rules. It was more like people covered in. It was like a scale on how much you covered. If you didn't cover so much, you got more respect. If you covered a lot, you won more. So it's you had to choose one of them. Um, so yeah, it was a lot of the classic. This was very common.
Yeah. This is just to be clear as well. This is what we mean by shenanigans, right? This kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of that, and also the packs were very like the battery life and the cord that comes out of the weapon. It's
Yeah.
just a telephone
Yeah.
cable, more or less. So there was a lot of that. It was very disorganized, more or less. It was 7 teams, I think, and it was just a 7 grid and then a grand final after that. I don't think there was anything more than that. It was like a half a day tournament thing. Um, and from that, it sort of evolved. It was like 98, 99. It was these no bases, no real like covering thing. But then V5 hit, so you could shoot through the whole like plastic area anyway. So covering was less of a thing after that, and the bending and all that. And then somewhere around, I think it was around 2000 when the white folks who had gone to America, which is like the dominant faction at this time, and seeing like how they play with no covering and all that. He brought it back, and they had a tournament which was not actually a official nationals. It was called NEO, North European Open, something like that. And then they had bases, base evac, no covering, no covering. It was written down at least. It's hard for people to change their ways.
There, there was a gesture, but the actual non-covering took years to kind of implement, really.
Yeah, it took forever. Like especially for a lot of the old players to change their ways. Like I'm one of the old players, and people still like I still do a lot of arming.
Yeah.
It's what it is. It takes a long time to remove it.
It's it's like changing the game, really, isn't it? Like when you change like a huge rule like that, it's like having a system change or something. It's like such a fundamental change to the game. People sometimes go like, "Oh, I actually don't like it now. I want to," sometimes you lose players because they're like, "Oh, this is a different game now. I'm not interested in playing this game."
Oh yeah, yeah. And the power of muscle memory is like if you're caught off guard, I still do it. If I get caught off guard and somebody's coming at me, I will do this just without thinking. I'll make my shot like that. Um, so so I understand it's really hard, especially the older you are. I was just like 15, 16 when that happened. So but for a lot of the guys, like from the 95, 97 era, they were like in their late 20s. They sort of left at that point. 2003 is the first like modern nationals we had. It was on System T, and it was the first time we had like everything, like a head referee and the base evac. Everyone knew how that worked at the time, and the covering rules, like people were actually getting warned for covering, and it was basically the static covering. People walking like this. Well, that sort of faded away at that point. Like there was not really much of that. So 2003 was like what we would say is the first uh, sort of like modern Swedish nationals. And I played it.
Did,
I
did
didn't rank. Sorry.
I was just going to ask with the covering? Did you guys kind of articulate the transitional cover at that point? Did you kind of just go, "Oh, okay, you're allowed to cover if you transition," or
Yeah.
but sort of the static covers are the ones that you tried to cut out, or was it just more like you were just still kind of figuring it out at that point about how to out rule covering?
No, in theory, we had quite a clear picture because the so we called it the Zone Gods rule book. It's the Americans the rule book that was used for Worlds 2001, I think. I'm not sure. I don't know that history, but there was a rule book. It came from America. Everything was sort of well explained, um, and there was like transitional movement and all of that. But uh, like people did transitional movement, but there was not a lot of like talking about rules and stuff with transitional. Um, there was a lot of talk about like running, jumping, a lot of that at first, because there was a lot like people jumped way back like back then. So there's a lot of these rules, like the simple rules and the like static covering. It was not so much with the the false transition when you go back up
Yeah.
again, stuff like that. It was not much of that being enforced by referees. It was mainly the static and the lean back. This one that I still do. I don't know. I help myself. I don't know why I do it.
It's just so damn effective, mate. Like, why would you drop it?
I know, right? So yeah, so 2003 was like the start. And from there, like back then, it was the East Coast. Stockholm was the dominant faction. Like they went to America and played. They played in Worlds 2001. They were very organized. They had this guy called Jocke Artful Dodger. Not sure if you played him. Extremely good at running tournaments, and everything was on time, on schedule. Stockholm ran very like crisp, good tournaments back then. Pretty
just,
conservative. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, just out of curiosity, how did they go against the Americans in 2001? Do you recall?
I don't know. I actually don't know. Uh, they didn't win, so, but I'm unsure. I
It'd be
think Finland was.
interesting. Oh,
Yeah, I
Finland.
think Finland was
Wait,
there as well. Yeah, I think Silentol was there. I'm unsure actually. It was
hmm.
before like my time. I was in like the third team in Gothenburg at that time. I was a very late bloomer when it comes to to laser tag. Up until I was like 20, I was not very good.
Well, yeah, it'd be
Yeah,
interesting to just from a yeah, just to see where the levels were at around the early 2000s. My guess is the Americans were pretty far ahead of everybody at that point. But yeah,
yeah,
interesting to see where they're at. I know we did send an Australian team, Doc Centre team. I think we got close to the bottom at that point. We were little bubbers back then, us Aussies.
hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't. We played two shots per second, and all the other things as well. So we'd probably never played that style of game before. But yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
cool. So yeah, so 2003 it kicked on, and I can't believe you playing T. So we had T for only 1 year. How many years did you guys endure T system for?
Ooh, we never went into the infusion system. So basically, we had T for the infusion era, more or less. So it was quite a lot of years. I can't really say how long, but up until 2008 9, I think. At least I know 2009 was the first time I think we missed the grand final for quite some time when we were not in Stockholm, and that was on System T. It was actually Dark Omen's team that beat us in this last Golden game, went to finals, um, the grand final. No, I don't. It was a long time. We had System T for a very long time, and because we learned it, it's not that bad actually. There's two versions of it. One is not as good as the other one, but it was all right. Like I don't mind playing System T. Um, I'll put it like
Tell us.
it's a little bit. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was going to ask. Yeah, expand on the not being so bad part because yeah, I'd like to know how the two different kinds of T system compared because we only really played it for 1 year, and for those at home that don't know about T, it was like looked like Infusion, but it didn't have live scores, and the biggest thing was the retaliation shot. So
Yeah,
you got tagged, and you had a split second to get a shot off against the person who just tagged you.
yeah,
Um,
that's the problem.
yeah. So how did the good version of it play?
It played like a V5. Like when the sound started, it was for everyone who hasn't played it. It was not a sound. It was people talking. It was
Yeah,
like
yeah,
so when you started, it didn't sound whoop. It sounded prepare to activate. It actually said prepare to activate, but it worked just like a V5. So when it said prepare in the prepare to activate, you could shoot. Uh, and there was not like I need to ask Slanish about that. Which one had the retaliation shot? Because in Borås, where Slanish side, that was like as soon as a sound started, you could shoot just like a V. It was basically like a V5 without stuns. And the Stockholm one, it says prepare to activate, and then you have to wait a certain amount of time. I think it's 1 second, 1.5 seconds, and then you can shoot, which is a lot harder. Uh, and the home player said that it was not really consistent. It would be like a split second here or there when you could actually shoot. So that system is not very good.
that's
Whereas
the
the Boros
system we
one,
had. That makes sense now. Yeah, because we were like, oh yeah, you'll come up between 7.5 and 8.5 seconds after you get deactivated. we could never narrow it down.
yeah, and that one is very hard to play. Stockholm had it, and they were really good at it. We never learned it. We never won a single time in Stockholm during those years, and Stockholm never won in Gothenburg during those years. Finland did later on when GP was formed. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So, all right, we're
yeah.
skipping ahead a little bit.
Oh,
Uh,
sorry. Yeah,
so,
I kind of asked some questions which jumped us ahead. But listen, now let's go back to 2003 and let's go through this piece by piece. Yeah, let's talk about what happened from there.
okay, awesome. So 2003, Norway joined back then. We brought Norway into the fold. Um, Not very competitive teams. There was a social team. They were there, but it was very nice to have them there. 2004, Finland joined the nationals. I think it was the first time. Sulitol came with his team. I know one of their players was second in solo, and they did pretty well. Like it was a very strong team. It was not like they started from the bottom; they came straight in to the like almost top from the start. Not sure how that like if it was uh, because Sulitol and White Folks are close friends, so I'm not sure it was maybe it was the Stockholm. Stockholm had the contact with Finland. We had the contact with Norway, so to speak.
Was
Um,
White Folks is a Finland player or a Swedish player?
no, he is from Stockholm. He
Okay.
was yeah he won with GP in Worlds 2014 in
Yeah.
Syracuse. He was allowed to play in GP that year. and they won
So
that one.
how did the Finns get so good? Did White so White Fox was friends with Xylitol, so he would be traveling to Finland and like showing them stuff because it's like yeah, it's not many times you see a new team come in from a new country and they go almost to the top straight away. So the Finland must have been
Mm.
playing leagues and stuff for years or something, were they?
Probably they've had nationals since the '90s as well.
Ah,
They've
right.
sort of
Yeah,
made the same thing that we did. So it's not like we taught them how to play laser tag. It was nothing like that. They had their scene going, and then the transition was it was Xylitol and White folks were heavily involved, and they did a lot of tournaments with like 3 people from Stockholm, 3 people from Finland. There was a lot of that going on. So.
yeah,
Um, so and when that happened, like then the Swedish nationals was actually really good. We had a lot of teams coming in. It was a pretty high stakes tournament, um, and I would say that that just kept on going. We had V5 up until like 2011, 12, something like that, and Stockholm had System T up until like almost 2010. So you would play System T in Stockholm, then we play System V5 in Gothenburg, and Finland would come and join, and they would be like inching closer and closer to winning. They actually won a few tournaments, I think, that was not like nationals. I know they won one in Gothenburg that was not a national. They beat us pretty good with one of those old school teams. Um, but then I think it was 2009 or 10 or something, then Finland won in Sweden. It was the GP team. I'm not sure if they called themselves GP by then, but it was basically the GP was like Astma, Dexter, Nick, the old one, not the one with Jor and Kutamo, but the one before that, Macy and Milky, that team. They won.
oh, so that would
And
have been the team that they kind of played together at Worlds in 2009 as well. I
yeah,
think they were
yeah,
pretty young at that point. Yeah, I think they
yeah,
were. Yeah, because we went there and they were considered the up and coming players at
yeah,
that point. I'm pretty sure.
yeah,
Yeah, and they got into the final. They just edged us out actually. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And they eliminated us as well, I think. I think we went out against them as well. It was
Okay,
a
so
good game.
yeah, I think we went. We must have gone out in the same game. Yeah, that I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
in
might be. Might
2009.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah, might be. It was the first time we played Nexus. And it was the Gen 1 Nexus, and we had like such a hard time finding the timing because the V5 timing, if you do that, is too slow because Nexus is so much faster than it's more like a V4 style, while V5 is more like Helios 2 is in the sense of timing. We had a hard time. We didn't get ours. We didn't play well. We didn't win. We were far behind. Um, and after that, like then there was like the when the skill base and the place to play went from Sweden to Finland because they were like then the best teams, the best players, and it was Helsinki, and it was the GP guys, and there was some people around them as well that was really strong. So they sort of stopped coming to Sweden in the same manner. They would come from maybe like a social reason, just to come and say hi and play, but it was not the same thing anymore. So Swedish Nats went from a really like high stakes tournament to something really low pretty fast around 2010 somewhere. There was even one year when we canceled it. There was not enough teams, uh, and I think that a lot of the Stockholm guys who used to run it, they sort of stopped playing or stopped running tournaments. I'm not sure if that what started first, the decline or them stopping. Can't say. It's too long ago to say. And nobody really hosted any tournaments. And when we did, it was not many teams. Um, so I think 2014, I think it was, I hosted the first um, Swedish Championship. So maybe it was even 2013, something like that. And
Well, well, so you guys
uh,
skipped a couple of years in there.
yeah, it was like nothing going on. I know one was cancelled, and uh, one there was no one there really. It was just like 5 teams or something like that. It was really
Yeah.
bad. Like Sweden went like from really high to really low really fast.
Yeah. And
around 2000.
what kind of team numbers were you guys getting like between 2003 and like 2008 during that kind of golden era before
I
Finland come
know.
through?
I think 2008. I think it was in Stockholm. That was the best one where we had 16 teams. I think
Wow.
was the highest. Yeah, and that was run by the old school Stockholm guys. It was a really good tournament. Um, and to compare, like with 2012, I think 11, somewhere around there, we had like 3, 4 teams.
Yeah. Wow, such a massive change. And so Stockholm must have had like a really thriving scene back in the day, did they?
Yeah.
Yeah, lot of local teams. Because to get to 16, and you only had a couple coming from
Oh,
international.
yeah. I think Stockholm had like 3 or 4 teams. I know they at least had 3 because they were named like red base, blue base, green base, something like that. And there might be like one more besides that. I think I was on a mixed team. And then Gothenburg had 2, and then Finland was there, and then Norway was there. Uh, and it added up. Like Finland has always had many teams. Um, so yeah, that was like the maximum. I think it was 2008, Stockholm,
Yeah.
16.
And so what? So Finland, really put themselves on the map and were like the place to play, and then everybody just started going to the Finland tournaments. Is that what happened?
Not really, and that's where I talked to Dark. I remember I talked to Dark Omen at some point, uh, and I asked him like, "Why aren't you guys coming to Sweden anymore?" And he says, "Well, why aren't you coming why aren't you coming to Finland?" Like because we never went to Finland
Aha.
because we were the place to play at. Like it was really arrogant, but yeah, I know Stockholm went 2 times, but Gothenburg didn't really go. Um, so I started going. So I've been to almost every Finnish Nats from, I don't remember which year it was, but from the year he said that to me, and until now I missed 2 Finnish Nats or something like that. Because he had a point, you know. Um,
Well, it must have struck something in there, mate, because he became the international man of laser tag after that, going to every tournament, in every country, everywhere, every year.
yeah, that's
So
fair.
you're like, oh, geez, that's
Yeah.
yeah, it's got a point there. Let's start being the international man.
Yeah, yeah. Fair enough. It wasn't like that at the start. Yeah. But yeah, so I started going, and I remember I'm trying to remember where when it was when the first like successful. I know that Stockholm organized 2017, and that one was a good one. There was a lot like GP came, and there was a lot of teams by Swedish standards back then. Or it was no 2016. It was 2016. 2014 is the first one I hosted. I had 5 teams or something coming over. Um, Finland had 1 team and they won easily. Um, and 2016 it was in Stockholm again, and they got like a lot of teams together. And then I hosted 2017 in Gothenburg. We got a lot of teams because we had Nexus and um, Worlds in France was going to be on Nexus. So we had a lot of teams, and I hosted it. And was I've hosted a few tournaments running up until that year, and they were so. Like I wasn't very good at running tournaments, but that one went sort of okay. And then what I did that was sort of new is that I started making a survey afterwards. Um, so I made a survey and I sent it to all the players asking like, how do you want it to be like? Uh, how do you want Swedish nationals to be, and what did you think of this, and what do you think of that? And the reaction was really nice. Like I'm not sure, maybe you've done it like for years and years, but it was the first time we did something like that in Europe, and people were really happy that we did that, and we got a lot of nice responses. And then the year after, it was in Borås. Uh, we hosted it again, and by then we had contacted Germany, Aki and the guys. So Germany sent 4 teams, and then
Four
a lot of
teams
4 teams. Yeah, yeah,
in their first year. They sent four teams.
yeah. They sent
Jeez,
4 teams. Yeah,
that's crazy.
yeah, and that made a lot of people interested in these the Germans, how good are the Germans, So
Yeah,
there was a lot of, so that sort of started. So there was a lot of teams coming back. Legacy had formed. They've been around for like a really long time, but uh, under another name. Um, no Fucks Given was their name, and they came back as the Legacy later on. And so they were there, and Dark Omen was there with the team. Score Bandits was there, so there was a lot of like really good, solid teams that played, and the Borås Arena is pretty popular. So it was a really good tournament, and I'm unsure. I should have checked that before. I think that is the one where we started with the 3-game series when we played.
right. So this is
Uh,
2017 or
this is 2018.
2018? Yeah, right.
2018.
So,
Mm.
so presumably, like, is this kind of where you feel like the skill, the level of skill in the tournament started to increase as well around this time?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. That was a really good one. It was really hard to win. I don't even think there was a Swedish team in the grand final. It was
Wow.
just 3 Finnish teams in the grand final 2018. 2017
Yeah,
was on home field. I didn't say that. We actually won that one. We beat GP. Is one. I think it's the only time we've beaten GP in the grand final, something like that.
yeah. And we're
It was a
talking
good
about
one.
the old Gothenburg site that we played at in 2019.
Yeah,
Was that
yeah,
the
yeah,
site? Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
How long was it there for? Was Gothenburg always in that location? Uh,
Uh, Gothenburg was not always in that location. It moved there. Oh dear God, when would we move there? it was. Uh, it was after. Let's see. It was not 2002. We played in the old location. I would say somewhere around 2000, 2003 or 2004, something like that.
okay. So it was there for a long time. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was there for a really
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah. Cool.
So it's one of the like classic arenas.
Yeah.
It's nice that you got
Yeah.
to play it.
Yeah. I'm stoked I got to play it. Sounds like it's for the locals, it's a part of your history. Big part of history.
Oh yeah. Um, so where was we? Where were we? 2018.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
2018. Yeah.
yeah. Legacy won that one. It was their first win, I think. First tournament win.
They beat GP.
No, Dark Omen was there with a team, but it was not GP.
Oh, okay. Right.
GP hasn't played in Gothenburg since 2017, I think. It was the last time they came over. Um, I don't think like we've had players like Nick and Dark Omen has been here and a little bit like that, but no, that was the last time they played. It was 2017, and that was the old GP that lost after they lost. Astma left the team and Kutamoyor joined the team. That was in 2017, leading up to Worlds.
All right.
Ah, ah. I should have. I realized now I should have taken notes like this. So many
No,
tournaments.
it's totally fine, man. Totally fine. Spitballing works for me, mate. If it works for you.
Oh yeah.
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 Wow.
Hmm. Now I'm
Uh,
thinking like I think it was 2015 actually that it was in Stockholm because 2016 GP came over and beat us. It was the year when they won almost everything. They didn't win in Australia, but they won Finland, Sweden, and the US, and lost in Australia that year. If they went that year, I'm not sure if they went to Australia
uh,
that year. 2016.
no, first year was 2018. They came to Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah, for all
All
green.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because I know
Yeah.
they went over. 2016 is the year I think they went over and beat Slick and Punisher in their home
That's
field
right.
in
Yeah.
California.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they didn't make it to Worlds 2014, and then not long after that, we heard about the Legends losing their own arena to them, which was obviously we were all,
Mm.
sparked a lot of interest in everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, these GP guys certainly had a reputation, that's for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they're good. Really good team. It's a shame they didn't go to Sweden after that, but on the other hand, they didn't go to many places at all except for Australia and their own nationals. So.
Mm, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we get to 2018 and things are well back on track. And and so did you organise the tournaments from 2014 when you started, pretty much all the way through? You were since then you've
Mm,
been the tournament
yeah,
organizer.
no, yeah, not the one in Stockholm. And just for the record, I'm not like all on my own running the tournament. Like I got when it's in Gothenburg, like Bambi is doing all the tech and a lot of that, and usually Marion helps me out. Or one year, the Gemini, the American girl, helped out like as volunteers. And have people writing scores. That's usually Slanish brother who does that. So we have a small team that runs
Mm,
it.
yeah, you're the face of the
Um,
team.
yeah. So yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
So yeah. So 2018 Legacy wins. Uh, Germany is playing. And they joined Swedish Nats. 2019 was we were only 10 teams, but it was a lot of skilled teams. Australia, you guys came over, and that was a big draw. America came over with Psycho and that team, which is a really strong American team. They struggled a bit in the actual tournament, but it was a very strong American team, and they ended up fourth. So that was a really good tournament.
yeah. I
Um,
remember. I remember there being just seven insanely strong teams. Out of the 10, there was seven that were pretty much at
yeah,
a pretty similar level. Really, I felt like Legacy early on felt like they were maybe just a touch ahead of everybody.
mm,
But yeah, it was pretty. Everybody in that top seven were beating up on each other throughout the tournament, pretty much. And yeah, I was super impressed with the level. Like it was like, holy moly, this is super intense.
mm.
Mm.
And it's sort of transitioned into that like really really discreetly. Like it was
Mm.
never a purpose. It just ended up like that. That like comparing to the first tournaments I ran, which was where like I experimented a lot. I did a lot of stuff that maybe wasn't very popular, or the time schedule. I didn't really stick to that as much as I should have. A lot of these things wasn't working, and now I've done it. I fail. When you fail, you learn.
Mm.
So the tournament ran pretty well, and a lot of the top teams liked it and wanted to go. And if there's a few top teams going, then the other top teams wants to be there as well. Like you don't want to
Yeah,
miss out on a tournament like that. So we were lucky in that sense, that we had first the Germans, and then we had you, and then we had Nexus, and Worlds needed Nexus. So and like Nexus training. So there was a lot of like these circumstances that made Sweden as possible to become a really good product. And then the fact that we worked a lot with the surveys, like, did you enjoy this? Like, and we try. At the time, I didn't think about it, but I'm one of those organizers that wants to try new things. I want to try this. I want to try that. Like, I want to do a lot of stuff, and it really ruined like these first nationals I ran, or tournaments or whatever. Uh, Made them sort of gimmicky, almost like it was too much things going on that was not like orthodox. So I'm trying to stick to like two things that are new, and then run it through the survey. If people don't like it, then I have to listen to the survey. It will keep me at bay. I want.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I was going to
Uh,
say, like one of the things I love about how you run tournaments is that you guys do try things, and yeah, I wanted to ask what you think are some of the most valuable or key things that you guys have gone your own way with compared to other tournaments that have really worked over the years.
our thing was early, and it comes from like all of these things that I do are usually from someone else. It's just that I do them.
Mm.
I'm willing to try it. Uh, there's been like a lot of ideas floating around, like 3 game series. We talked a lot about that at the site, like our site, and I talked to Finland about it. And the thing we did last year, yeah, we have like an area outside the baseline that is a no go, no stopping area for deactivated players only, to make sure there's no traffic around it where if something happens. Like all of these are ideas that has been floating around. Um, But everyone has been like, yeah, well, we shouldn't try it for a nationals. We should try it for a smaller tournament first to see if it works, which makes sense. But we don't have smaller tournaments. We only have the nationals, more or less. We do have a few small tournaments, but not enough to use as what's it called, to gather information from. So we only have the nationals. So that's why we try it at nationals. Um, and I think the three game series was the first one because we have ridiculously unbalanced bases in our home site where we practice. Not as much now because we've been rebuilding it, but from the start it was really unbalanced. So the red team could never win, as it was from the start when we started playing there. So we started to say like, okay, let's play like we play all three bases and we do total score because whoever is red is going to lose. But then you can play red, you don't lose as much, and then you win from that. Okay. And then because we always did that, then a lot of us older players said, "Oh, this is more fun to play like three games because then you can sort of if you ruin one game and then you can ruin for that team and then there's a lot of ways to play it and it's really interesting." So we said, okay, let's try it for a tournament. So we tried it and then we tried three games for every game. Um, Even for round robin, it was three games. It was not many teams. It was 7 or 8 teams, something like that. 7 teams, I think. And that was actually not a nationals. It was a small tournament. It happens every now and then that we have those. And I remember I talked to Kutamo. Like if you ever want a good opinion on tournaments, and talk to Kutamo because he's a very smart man. And he told me during the tournament, he said like, this is a very smart idea, but round robin is too imbalanced games. It's just a waste of time. So I did when I did the survey, I actually asked like, what did you think about three games and in which part, like how do you like it in different parts of the tournament? And people were like, it was really fun during the grand final of the System D. It was not very enjoyable during the group stage. It was just a very long group stage. Um, and then um, and then during the nationals, we did the three game series. And then I asked in the survey, would you like to do 3 game series on all games? And the answer was like, no, keep it to the System D. That is really nice, but the other games they don't need that. So, so the 3 game series in the System D is something that we started, and it's something we do. Um, a lot of countries have sort of done something similar, like either you do just for the Golden Games or the Elim Games, where they do 2 game series, or but they try to do series. Um, so it's something that people appreciate. I think that is one of our best contributions, like something that's unique.
Yeah,
It does make
absolutely.
System D very long, but people like it. So.
Mm. Which I guess
And
another
now your
thing is
screen is
like you
frozen.
guys have kind of been big advocates for limiting the number of teams in the tournament too, haven't you? I guess is that a European thing or is
Yeah.
that yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Because that's something in Australia we took the opposite approach, and you came and visited it, and it sounds good in theory, but does have its problems. Like we could never have a 3 game series in finals, for example. Maybe we could do it for Golden Games, but yeah, it's just too many teams to be able to pull
Hmm.
that lever and put that thing in. And despite how good it is, like I think yeah, a lot of we travelled with you to the US recently, so I played it there and also played it in SweNats in 2019, and I'm a big fan of it now in those finals games. I think it it just balances the inequities in any bases, and in laser tag anything can happen in one game. But yeah, you need to play a series of games in order to like get I believe a little bit more of a more accurate measure of who the team is that should be advancing essentially. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, okay,
We've been sort
yes,
of. I've always been advocating for 13 team as a team cap, and we always had that 13 teams. We usually that's never an issue. We usually like up until this year, like 11, 12 is sort of where we end up. Um, and it's been when I was talking to you and talking to Simi a lot about getting these like mid low tier teams in. We've been sort of focusing a lot of getting the best teams in. It's been how we roll. Like we talked to like Destroyer, Legacy. Mega Friends, all these guys, getting them in, and that's sort of like we're happy about like that. That's where we want to be. But we have noticed like these local teams. We do have like some like local teams. They also play because it's the Swedish nationals, and they don't really have much of a chance. Um, and then speaking to you about like the importance of mid tier and lower tier, we have talked a lot to like other teams as well. And then we have a Patty and their parents, who's the Blazing Bullets, and they're not afraid. Like they'll go anywhere, they'll play anyone. they, got, they got no respect.
Fearless. Yeah, yeah,
They're
yeah.
really
Good.
good. They're gonna be something like they're gonna be the new GP over
Yeah, cool.
time. But then now we have talked a lot to like other teams as well. Like you should join because now it's not like just really good teams. It's a lot of teams that you could actually play against. It's not just like the big six or whatever it is, like the Think That and all these impossible teams. There are other teams coming as well, and then we got like a lot of for this year a lot of interest, and so I talked to Slanesh and I said we can't do 13 anymore because now we can't even fit. Like the American team is not even fitting in there because we already have 13 teams. We need to go to 15. And then I've been talking a lot to Scotland, trying to get them on board as a Scottish team. There's still one slot left, and I hope that Scotland will take that one. But and there was Austrians wanting to play, and then we had some French people making inquiries. We have some people who wants to return because there's 18 teams, because now they feel like they have a shot because there's so many teams. So I told Slonish, let's go to 18. And so we did. So we've gone to 18, but we have rewritten the grids. And that's one of my like two things I want to try for every tournament. Um, and hopefully that will work. If it works, it would be awesome because then you can play 18 or 21 teams without any problem. And that would be like the thing I'm trying this year.
Excuse me. Did our Latvian team return? For the Latvian team that went to the German Nats?
No, and that was Germany actually who has been in contact with them. Me, not so much. I have not heard anything from them, but I know they thought it was pretty cool. They don't
Yeah.
have zone, so it's hard for them to practice, and they are competitive on their format. So it's always hard when someone comes over and they're like champions on their format, and then they're like second to last or last. And it's not very fun if you're used to winning. Um, I'm not sure they're not coming to Swedish Nuts.
Yeah. Mate, super exciting about the 18 team thing. So do you feel like you'll have like a real clear like top tier, mid tier and lower tier at this tournament? Is it shaping up that way?
Sort of, yeah. Yeah, I think so. We are using the European qualifying system to sort of filter the teams because you need for the system I run you need to rank them. So I'm trying to use something that's not like mine and use that one instead, and it sort of works. I hope. Um, we might have teams that should be a little bit higher, a little bit lower, something like that. But in general, it sort of works. I think like it's new, so I can't say it's going to be great, but I hope so. And the survey will let us know if it was good or
Yeah.
not.
So to just talk us through it, what exactly is it? Is it a way of like predicting where they're like ranking the teams going into the round robin? Is it?
Uh, yeah, so it's 18 teams, and so we will utilize the six grid and the nine grid. So first, we are making two groups of nine. So you will rank in using the European Championship qualifying score to rank into a lower group of nine or a higher group of nine. Where there is a small gray zone, of course, between 9, 10 there, but we will use that scoring, so it's sort of fair. Um, so you if let's say you start in bottom nine, you will play a nine grid, which is 12 games. So you will play 12 games, and then you're done for the day. And then the top nine will play a nine grid, so it's 12 games, and that we call that the play-in. And then the top six from The upper 9 grid will go to a higher group, group A, 6 teams. The bottom 3 in the high group will go to group B, the mid group. In the lower bracket, the top 3 will go to the mid group, and the lower 6 will go to the low group. So then we have group A, B, and C, and they will run as six team grids, where each group play one game each. So there's a little bit of waiting, but that would be like that will work like the round robin. So anyone who is in the A group, if they win a game, they will get 5 victory points, 4 for second and 3 for last. And in the C group, you will get 4 for winning, 3 for second, and 2 for last. And then in the lowest group, you get 3 for winning, 2 for second, 1 for last. So that will mean that winning in the high group is worth more than winning in the low group. And once you have played these 5 games, I remember the score from this play-in, that doesn't count. Those scores are erased afterwards. But once you are done with those three groups, teams will end up with a score, and the winner from Group B could actually move past the lower team in Group A, like it's sort of, because even if they win every game, they will get four, 4 points per win, and if the upper team loses every game, the last one in that group, they will actually drop below the winner from Group B. But that's what it is. They will get better training, and they will get make the better teams, and in the long run, hopefully that will be better. And if you lose all the games, you shouldn't have been in that group anyway. So basically, you keep all those scores, and then you go straight into a double cascade.
Right.
And then there's no groups anymore. So then you can play whoever that's close to you on the rank, and there will be a score difference because the different groups gives different score.
And the points from the ABC games that they carry on into the Cascade games?
Yes.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Who created this system?
That's actually me. And
Oh,
R.
wow.
Nico from the captain of Legacy. He sent me a lot of ideas he had, and from that we made this one. So he has a lot of other ideas. The idea was to get rid of the round robin. It's not a popular part of the tournament. Um, it takes a really long time. The games are imbalanced. Um, winning is not as important. It's important, like you know what I mean. It's with this system, hopefully, every game matters so much more. You have 5 games. If you don't accumulate your score, you will have a really hard time in the cascades. And then cascades then is always important. Like people care about cascades, even though the score is worth just as much in round robin. Cascades feels more important. So you will basically play. The downside will be that there will be teams in the tournament that won't face off even once, and that is the price we pay for this grid. Um, but I hope that won't matter too much. And also because it's very segmented, we can have teams not on site and they can rest. And so even though the days are long, you get your rest when it's not your group playing.
Wow. I'll be very keen to see how it goes, mate. This is pretty different to anything I've seen before. It's out
Yeah,
there.
it is. It is different from anything I've done as well. I've never done anything like this. I usually am very traditional with the core event when it comes to the setup. So I think everyone is sort of keen on knowing, because if this system sort of works, you don't really have to care about amount of teams as much. Um, hopefully, and if it doesn't work, it was worth a shot.
Yeah. And I guess, like, for me, it's like it still has to work because you wrap it up with a double cascade. So, like, that kind of theoretically will just align everybody where they should be on the ladder, essentially. But it's just like how do you get to your rankings going into those cascades is just completely new.
Yeah. So it would be like only if the distances become too far between teams.
Yeah.
I think the end goal of the best team winning, that would not be a problem, but for the sensation of being able to climb should be there. So if the distances between the teams get too much after the group is done, it might discourage teams to be like, yeah, okay, so we're trailing with like a lot of score. The
Mm.
tournament has barely started. Like, how did this happen?
Yeah. Yeah. It does put a fair level of importance on those first games, doesn't it? Because
Oh yeah,
um, yeah, because you need to rank, like you need to get up into a higher group, so you can get more points essentially. Yeah,
yes.
and
There's no.
to some level, sorry, you finish.
Yeah, yeah, no, no,
I
go.
I was just going to say is also the like I mean, if all the tournaments were doing it, it would create a massive incentive to be playing all the tournaments because it increased your Euro champs ranking as well.
Yeah,
Like if it was something that like people, other tournament operators started to do, then everybody'd be like, oh, we got to play that tournament to increase our ranking potentially, so that
yeah,
we go into other tournaments in the higher group.
yeah.
Mm.
Europe, in difference from the one you're throwing in Oceania. Never mind.
Oceanics.
Yeah, we don't stack score. Like, you win one tournament, you're good. Like, you're good for 3 years. You win one
Oh yeah,
nationals,
yeah,
and you're sort of good for 3 years.
right.
We do not stack it because it's like we are thinking of doing something like that, but like we are just using the one tournament.
Ah, yeah, okay, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So what I kind of just suggested probably is less, not really relevant, essentially.
Yeah, I'm a bit intrigued by your scoring system. Actually, it's exciting. Like, it's that you can use like several different results. Uh, we have had some tournaments that happened during like right after COVID, where some teams that usually rank low, they ranked high because there wasn't so many teams present and stuff like that. So stacking it would be an interesting way around that. So why not?
Mm.
I will follow that with high interest. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is the beauty of it all, right? We're all just kind of doing things a little bit different, and yeah, we can all just take notice of how things pan out. So we all get to
And
learn faster.
yeah. So the second thing we're trying, that was one of the things. The second thing we're trying this year. So last year we implemented the way of refing that Australia does, like with the notes, like we take record of everything. Also was really popular, but it was also like an idea, like you've been doing for years. So I know Finland has started doing that as well. They did this for this year's nationals. So the team will write, like, when you go in, you have your notes where you write like game, whatever team, whatever, which ref is on each base, how many warnings they dished out, if any, and for which rule. And then you have to turn it in when you're done. And once you turn it in, then you're actually completed your refing and your because we use this like minus points. If you don't ref, you get penalty rank points. Uh, so then your penalty will be removed, and you're all good. So we will try that, and now we will try, because I was playing when I was playing in Australia. Something that is helping your refing a lot is the senior refs. Now we don't have like a program, but we will have people that they can sign up as a senior ref. They need to be okayed by me or Nico R. Um, and then they can sort of jump in, because we have like two teams refing, each team sends four, but then a master ref or a senior ref, I don't even remember what I call it, they can just write their name on the tab, like just jumping into the game, and then the team only has to send three. um,
Mm.
so I will try to get some consistency by having this like senior refs going into more games when they have downtime, and keeping the level more like this. So yeah.
Especially handy if you've got more inexperienced teams coming as well. Hey, so takes the pressure off them teams having to provide refs as well.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. And that's also like, we'll see how interested people are in doing it. It might be that people just don't want it, but then I know at least.
Yeah, cool. A few new things to keep our eye on.
Yep.
Very good. Yeah, we somehow ended up at the destination point of talking about the current tournament, mate. Somehow along the way, was there? Should we just quickly before we completely jump into it? Let's just wrap up the 2018 to like now period for SweNats. How did you guys go during COVID and all that kind of stuff? Yeah, what were the biggest challenges you guys have had over the last like 5 years or so?
COVID was actually really good for Sweden because the laser tag sites didn't close. So we played, we had trainings, and we had a lot of players. It was harder to get. We didn't recruit any new players, but a lot of our like new players, they got a lot of attention, like because we had nowhere to play except for the Swedish nationals were still played during COVID. And I think the Swedish nationals and the US nationals were the only ones played. I might be wrong. I think so at least. Uh, so we had Swedish nationals every COVID year. Uh, Not like the biggest turnout, but still, it was. I know Team Destroyer came over, a UK team came over, some Finnish teams came over. Like it was good. It was solid tournaments. So COVID didn't really affect Sweden at all, as much as it did with America and Germany. It was a lot more affected by it. And we had very lenient rules during COVID, like national rules. Well, not like Australia is over here and then Sweden is over here, something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was not really a challenge. The biggest challenge we've had is that we only have one competitive site that can host a tournament that's willing to do daytime because the tournament you were here 2019 was the last one that was nighttime. Nighttime sort of enables you to go wherever because the location or rent it doesn't matter because we're playing when no one is there anyway. But there were so many teams that said no, we want daytime. So I talked to Slanesh, who's the manager in Borås, and he said, "Yeah, we can do daytime at our place." And then we went daytime, and people were like, but it
Mm.
also effectively closed any other opportunity at any other side with the amount of teams we had. So yeah,
And that's still the case now, like with the number of sites you have available, given the
yes,
daytime thing.
yes, because we had 2020 Borås, 2021 Borås, 2022 Borås, 2023 Borås, and now 2024 is Borås. So yes,
Yeah.
yes, we are, and the teams are. Luckily, Borås is a good site. Teams love it. A lot of people in the survey says it's their favorite. They'll come back, infinite amount of times. Uh, but there's a few things like they are on the legacy operative system, or yeah.
Yeah.
So when we play elim, it's the different timing from when we play comp, and it's Helios Pro, and now with Helios 2 out, like people want to play Helios 2 because it's better in so many ways. And now with Gothenburg getting Helios 2, a lot of people are asking like, can we host in Gothenburg? And I so hope that we can. So the plan is next year, Helios 2 in Gothenburg, and with some luck, we can do it on our main venue because that one is good. It's a really nice venue. It's a bit secluded. It has a bar, so when you're done with your Cascades game, we will have someone tending the bar, and we will have the stream on, and you guys can just go and have a few beers, watch the last of the games, and just enjoy yourself. And then the train station is just outside, and it will take you to the area where a lot of the hotels are. So basically, you play laser tag, you have a few beers, you can eat something there, get on the train, go to your hotel, and then come back the next day. So it's a very good venue in that sense.
Sounds like the dream, mate.
Yeah, I know,
I'll just pop it in. I'll just pop it in my calendar now.
right? Yeah, it's there's a lot of things that need to align. But now us having 18 teams, like it might be a fluke. Like it might be that next year we're back to 10 again or 11, 12. Yeah, like there's so much that could happen. We don't know. Like or teams love it. Like we will try to really put focus on the mid and lower tier teams and ask them a lot, like a lot of different questions, like what do they enjoy, what do they like, did they like the grouping to play against teams that are on their level, or was that like a bad thing? Would they rather play against the high tier teams even though they're gonna lose? Maybe there's something that we don't know. We have no idea. Um,
Yeah.
so, but if we reach 18 again and this system works, then we could actually go somewhere else.
Yeah. What's the rough split of the number of teams per country?
Oh, America won. Um,
Sorry.
no worries, bro. America
Might have to
won.
cut that bit out. That was, uh,
Let's see. America won. Austria won, and then hopefully then Scotland won, or it might like maybe France won. We don't know. Like it will be, but let's say Scotland because they are the closest one to closing a team. And then we got Germany with, let's see, Six Sense, Electric Fire, Hyper Mode, and Destroyer. They got 4, and then Sweden's got 5, and then Finland has like they got a lot. They got Empire, they got Blazing Bullets, they got Aparia, they got Uprising, which is I think that's new name. They got Legacy, they got Mega Friends. It feels like I'm forgetting someone, but yeah. So I think Finland has the most teams. I think Finland has like 6, Sweden has like 5, Germany has 4. So it's still a very like international venue. And Pauline has been doing a lot of work, like getting teams in. Felix has done a lot of work getting teams in. Like it's easy. Never forget, I'm just one in the team now because there's so many that has been doing this with me for so long. So they are doing a lot of stuff. Like Paulina is doing a lot of the media bits, getting logos in, and she's making these awesome photos now with and she's putting like flag and nationality flag and name and making like one of those cards that you had in Australia, but we're gonna add a flag as well just to highlight that it's so diverse. And we have like people helping with the stream, like it's either invalid or it's twinkles or it's someone helping out with that part. And then we got Slanish doing maintenance work on the packs, like he does a lot of work with that. And even like guys like Tim or Mopar helping out with questions. Like there's so many people, and I even know you helped out with some issues with the Slanish had with the sound. Uh, we don't know why, but in Europe the Helios Pro packs are really quiet. So there's a lot of people working on this. It's not just me in any sense. I do a lot of the ideas and new stuff and the schedule.
yeah.
Otherwise, it's a lot of other people helping out.
Yeah, massive thank you to all the people in our community that help out because these things don't happen by themselves, and yeah, require a big army of people to do them, and keeps us sane because I remember back in the early days in Australia when we had 22 teams and the site operator would run the whole tournament pretty much independently. No, that human didn't sleep for 2 weeks, the poor thing. So yeah, the volunteer team that helps us be able to actually still enjoy ourselves while we're pulling all this stuff off, right? So
Yeah. So
cool. All right, so let's fully go there, mate. Let's tell us for those watchers or listeners out there that don't know where and when the tournament is. Yeah, tell us a bit of the basic information around the tournament.
okay, so it's gonna be daytime. It's gonna be in Borås. It's gonna be in December. I wish I had the dates. I'm gonna sneak peek the dates. Uh, it's and it's gonna be on Helios Pro, and it's gonna be streamed on our nationals channel, which is ZLTSWC, which is like all the tournaments are using that abbreviation. We had the SW because Finland is Suomi in Finnish. We didn't know if they wanted to use the S as well, so we added the W as well, just for safe measure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
that's why
Yep.
we have two letters. Yeah.
Yep. And we'll
uh,
no doubt repost any Twitch stream links and stuff for everybody. If you, yeah, when the tournament's not far out, we'll make sure that you guys know when and where it's happening and what the stream links are.
oh yeah. So it runs from December 11th, Central European Time, 1800. That's 6 p.m. Right? Yeah, 6 p.m. until Sunday, December 15th at 4 p.m.
Okay.
Uh,
Sorry, so it'll be 7 p.m. our time. Yeah.
yeah,
8 hours we are ahead of you guys.
yeah.
Righty
Uh,
ho.
yeah, and we will have commentary on site, and we will try to get some good commentary in as well. We want to have Benny and Twinkles at some point. And
Oh,
also,
Benny and Twinkles, come on.
oh yeah, and then I want like Runt and Moldy did like a superior job last year. That awesome commentary together, and hopefully we get Shifter on as well. Uh, she's a workhorse. Like she does like massive shifts on the stream.
Yeah.
But we will try to have like some local as well, and yeah, and we have actually Bob usually does commentary, but he's actually playing this year. He's on a team.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, cool.
yeah, so Bob and Ace are doing their first Swedish nationals.
Are they playing with the All American team or are they joining some
Yeah,
Europeans?
all American team. So it's Renegade, Bob, Ace, Tyson is Limbo, and Gimpy, and then it's Jonas from the Randoms, who played
Oh,
in
yeah.
BSO in the US national team.
Is it
So
old
it's
school
all
Ace or
old
old
school Ace.
school
Yeah.
Ace? Oh, he's
Uh,
coming as well. Awesome.
yeah, gonna be the first legend to actually come to Sweden.
Yeah, so good.
Hmm.
Awesome. And big shout out to Mr. Holmes, our very own Laser Sports Academy, Mr. Holmes. He's going to be joining Electric Fire, I understand.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah.
He's playing with Electric Fire. It's gonna help them qualify for the European Championships, hopefully. That's the
Ooh,
plan.
okay, so that's the plan. Okay. The challenge has been laid down. No pressure, Holmes.
Nope.
Germany's yeah, hopes lie on your shoulders as the rest of the Electric Fire as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a nice dark horse. Yeah, and then Marion is actually playing with the Austrians, so we have a Frenchie in there as well. So I
Awesome.
think this is a new record for amount of teams in Sweden. Finland has had more, and it's a record for amount of countries. I think. Uh, I need to double check that because 2019
Yeah.
we had a lot of countries as well, and then New Zealand was here, and they're not here this time around. So we
How many
have all.
countries do you have this year?
Okay, I'm gonna count Scotland because I hope they're joining. We have Scotland, Sweden, Finland, Germany, Austria, the US, France, Australia, 8 countries. That's good.
That's really good. Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. That's more than Worlds. So a lot more than Worlds. So
Yeah.
good
Right.
one. Awesome. And tell us about the events that you guys are playing this year.
We are playing the solo, and it's probably going to be the Gothenburg style solo. It'll be like our local event. And Gothenburg solo, for those of you that doesn't know, it's you play 3 games. That can vary, but this time around it's going to be 3 games. Unsure which three because Slanish is hosting that one, but it's commonly a progressive solo where you are eliminated every 30 seconds. So you throw like there's 18 players, and when the game is over, it's only 2 left. And there's going to be solo elimination, and then it's going to be a classic solo, I think, and maybe with bases turned on. Not sure about that one. Might be. And then the rank from each of those 3 games is your score. The score itself doesn't matter. The rank is what you get, and the one with the best average rank of all 3 games wins. And in the grand finals, you're gonna run it twice, so it's gonna be 6 games. Um, and that really it's good. It's fun because it really takes a toll on you. Especially the progressive solo where you constantly have to score to keep yourself in the game. It's actually pretty fun.
Wow! So there's going to be a lot of games. So you play all those games in a like a qualifying series, and then you go through to like is there just the qualifying series, then the grand final, or is there rounds in
No,
between
it's
for?
gonna be no, it's gonna be with like a rep charge. It's gonna be
Yeah.
round one, rep one, round two, rep two, and then grand final. I think it's gonna be
And
like that.
And in each one of those, you play like the 3 games. Yeah,
3 games, and you're not allowed to leave the airlock or the arena during that time.
yeah.
You have to play all three.
Wow, that's cool. I'd love to play that. Like, yeah, like having to figure out tactics for all 3 game formats essentially. And you might have some people that are specifically really good on one style of solos, and not the others as much. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And I usually have like, so if you're eliminated, you can go to one of 2 or 3 spots. So it's hard for people to keep track who's eliminated and when they went out. The thought
yeah,
is like
okay,
most people should be eliminated every game, regardless of format. Sometimes we do Time Warrior instead of one of the
yeah, yeah,
and when we play it back home, it's usually 7 games,
mm,
and then we play progressive solo like a base run Swede format,
yeah,
but with on solo. So one base will be on, so you play against blue base, and if you actually destroy the base and you get 3,000 points, you're just really far ahead. But if you get
yeah,
denied and you get like -1,000, then you're probably out next. So
yeah,
it's good fun.
yeah, yeah. Cool. So you got regular team games, team elim, and solos. What any other events?
No, those are the 3.
There's 3. Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
So there
Okay.
was there was a vote. It was if we were going to play base run or Elim, and Elim won the vote. It was a close vote. So we
Yeah,
are playing Elim, and we're going to play that one with a system D, and there's going to be series in Golden Games and Elimination Games, and they're going to be 3 game series, and the grand final will be 4 games.
yeah. Very cool. Awesome, mate. And any other things that will be special about this year, other than all the things you've already told us about, all the countries that'll be joining us, and the new kind of, let's not call it a group stage. You call it the group stage system.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, I think that one would be the big one, and then like a lot of things are like in-house things that a lot of the like Felix, Paulina, they are doing like more initiatives by themselves. Like Paulina called all the hotels nearby to get a discount for all the players coming in, and Felix is getting trying to get some sponsorship from like energy drinks and protein bars and stuff like that. They're doing a lot of stuff. So I think the big thing that goes on behind the scenes is that a lot of other players are sort of recognizing that running a tournament is really fun, and there's so much you can do. So I'm actually having like a minor, smaller role for every year that goes, and a lot of other players are stepping up doing stuff, um, which is awesome. But it hopefully it won't show. Like it would just be a really good product, and it will look like everyone is working as always.
Yeah,
But
no, that's awesome, bro.
yeah, so I would say that one is probably the biggest one over time, because with 4 or 5 players that are willing to take risks and do stuff, as long as you're taking accountability for it afterwards, that will make it even better. And also the fact that we are stealing a lot of ideas from other tournaments when we travel around the world. A lot of things we have just taken from Australia with the referee system and a lot of that. And hopefully from America over time, I would want to take like their type of social night that they do,
Mhm.
uh, trying to make like more social activities somewhere, uh, as a tournament goes. But it's really hard to find time for that. I don't know how they do it. It's just so hard to
Mm,
find time for social activities when everyone is playing all the time. But we'll see.
mm. Yeah, and maybe a big group photo at the front
Yeah.
of the building. That's
That's really nice, but it's always so warm.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, awesome, mate. And just to finish up, I know you're still waiting on registrations to come through, so you probably wait until they all land. But yeah, everybody's going to be keen to see a prediction stream at some point. Have you got something in the mix there, or that's still to be organised?
Still to be organized. Um, I've been on a few prediction streams. I think it's really hard to pull off a really good prediction stream. It's really, but there will be something. Um,
Mm,
just don't know how to format it in like a really good way. I think the Aussie one is the best so far. Like it's sort of consistent and a lot about like how the various teams are playing or how you expect them to play, and it feels like the European and American one so far has been a lot talking about the players in the team, but not so much as what the team is expected to do or how they're expected to play. So it gets a little shallow, but I'll do something. Uh,
Mm.
I'll talk to you guys when it's time, and I'll try to put a group of people together that are good. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I shouldn't join myself. Maybe I should just get some other people that are really smart together. I'm unsure. I don't know. I don't know.
If you didn't get a chance to see the one that Holmes did with Wax and Firebird, and there was somebody else I'm just forgetting. I'm sorry to that person, but they got the whiteboard out and they
Yeah,
all basically argued and just bantered the whole time on where teams should rank. That was a really fun one and something a little bit different as well. So might be
yeah.
worth something having a look at. But
I yeah yeah. Hopefully, yeah, something like that. Like I'm up for trying stuff for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. Cool, bro. Well, that's yeah, that's awesome. We are so keen to see how it goes with all these teams, and hopefully we get a new country involved, and to see all the new things that you're putting into place. Yeah, thank you for coming on today and sharing it all, and sharing the history of the SweNats as well. It's been fascinating learning the journey that you guys have been on and the ups and downs along the way, and stoked to see that you guys are yeah you're reaching new heights of ups as we speak.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Knock on wood and all that.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. All right, and thank you to everybody watching out there. Thank you for following along, and yeah, we'll share as much as we can about the SweNats and the prediction stream and the stream for the actual tournament and everything as it happens. So once again, Andreas Mumin, thank you very much for coming on, and we can't wait to see you next time, mate.
Yeah, it was great being here. Thanks, man.